An American worker for attempting to smuggle a 6-day-old baby onto a U.S.-bound flight.
What was found in a handful of travelers' luggage was so insane that it almost silenced the whole airport in shock. From a man caught with a human skull in his luggage to a woman attempting to smuggle a 5-month-old baby in a bag. Another traveler went as far as hiding snakes in his pants.
As he went through the checkpoint and pulled out a small bag with several snakes inside.
Now, how many more unbelievable things have been found and seized by customs? Join us in the episode as we uncover 25 most disturbing things confiscated at airport customs. Live worms, big trouble. A fisherman's holiday plans were about to take a drastic turn, all because of a tiny packet of live worms. He stands at the airport check-in desk, looking nervous, sweat dripping down his face as officials question him. While inspecting his gear and searching through the containers hidden under his luggage, one of the officers makes a surprising find: a packet with 150 grams of live worms. The man explained that he was simply on holiday with his son, intending to go fishing, trying to downplay the situation as harmless. However, the worms he was carrying were no ordinary bait. They posed a serious biosecurity risk. Although he had signed a declaration stating he wasn't carrying any animals, it became clear that he hadn't fully grasped the seriousness of the rules. The officials pointed out that when asked whether he had any animals, animal parts, or even insect products, he should have been more careful in his response.
So it's a live organism. They're very serious for quarantine.
First time to Australia, I don't know.
Unfortunately, this oversight would come at a high cost. The officials took the time to explain exactly which rules he had broken and made sure he understood the consequences. Ultimately, the fisherman was hit with a fine of $340. While the fisherman learned a costly lesson about airport biosecurity rules, a much bigger smuggling operation was being uncovered, involving a large number of endangered snakes. 121 snakes found in smuggler's suitcase. A man thought he could sneak 121 snakes past airport security, but the scanner had other plans. Customs officials at a Shanghai airport recently made an incredible discovery: a suitcase packed with 121 endangered snakes.
121 endangered snakes stuffed into a suitcase.
When questioned, the smuggler tried to pass them off as toy snakes, but it was clear he wasn't fooling anyone. After some suspicious images appeared on the scanner, officers opened the case to find the reptiles hidden in black stockings and stashed inside 21 plastic boxes. These sneaky creatures were identified as ball pythons, an endangered species famous for curling up into a ball when frightened. The smuggler had shipped them from Seattle to Hong Kong by air cargo before attempting to bring them into Shanghai. Now, this failed smuggling attempt has serious consequences, including the possibility of life imprisonment for trafficking these rare snakes. But snakes aren't the only unusual items that have raised eyebrows at airport customs. A German man learned the hard way that even seemingly harmless souvenirs can lead to serious trouble. Caught with a human skull.
The fragments of human skull discovered at Fort Lauderdale Airport this afternoon.
One professor had to find out the hard way when his innocent souvenir led to an unexpected arrest. So when this German professor was traveling through an airport in Rome, he got quite the surprise. Customs officers stopped him and took a close look at his luggage, only to find something he clearly wasn't expecting: human remains. Now you might be thinking, how could anyone not know that's illegal? Well, apparently the professor didn't realize that transporting bones across borders was against the law. He explained to the border police that he had bought the skull from a market stall for €50, thinking it was just a cool, well-polished souvenir, minus the lower jaw, of course. Despite his innocent explanation, the authorities weren't having it. He was arrested for illegally possessing human remains. To make matters even more strange, his skull was sent to the scientific department of Italy's police for further investigation. Bobtail lizards stashed in a bag.
Suspected smugglers have been busted with bizarre live contraband at Perth Airport.
Customs officers at the airport came across something truly strange when they noticed a moving object inside of a traveler's luggage that seemed off. A young man's bag passes through the security check, but something doesn't sit right. The customs officer flags it for further inspection, and that's when things get strange. As he unzips the bag, 2 red bags catch his eye. But it's what's inside that really gets his attention. A strange movement inside one of them. The officer carefully unzips the bag and after removing the covering is shocked by what he discovers. Inside, he finds 13 bobtail lizards.
An X-ray of their check-in luggage revealed bobtail lizards destined for Singapore and Kuala Lumpur.
These creatures, smuggled out of Perth, were packed with great care, but the officers wasted no time uncovering the hidden wildlife. Just when you think you've heard it all, another discovery would soon follow, but this time the contents of a bag were far more alive than expected. A woman's fishy excuse. Is it a seafood feast or a smuggling attempt? Either way, this traveler's luggage certainly raised some eyebrows. On her short trip to Vietnam, this woman quickly caught the attention of Australian border officers. On the surface, she didn't look like your typical budget traveler. She lives on a pension, but was somehow living it up on a 6-week trip to Asia. When asked how she could afford it, she claimed her boyfriend in Vietnam helped foot the bill. So naturally, the officers decided to give her luggage a closer inspection. What they found was pretty weird. Aside from the usual checks, they uncovered a huge stash of seafood. But here's the twist. The fish wasn't fresh. It was rotting and crawling with maggots.
Feel it, Henry. It's warm.
No.
And to top it off, the system flagged her luggage for possible cocaine smuggling. She insisted the fish was just for a Vietnamese restaurant she was visiting, but even after tests showed she wasn't carrying anything illegal, the officers weren't convinced. They seized the gross maggot-infested seafood, leaving her travel plans in limbo. The hairy truth. Officers couldn't help but admire her beautiful hair, but little did they know, there was something much darker hiding underneath. What happened next shocked everyone. This South African woman was caught attempting to smuggle drugs into Thailand, and the authorities were about to reveal just how she did it.
Nobanda confessed and was convicted of attempting to smuggle 600 grams of cocaine.
She was sitting there as they presented the drugs they'd found, hidden inside her dreadlocks. The drugs had been cleverly woven into her hair, which might have helped her sneak past customs. But the X-ray scanner didn't miss a thing. To retrieve the cocaine, they had to cut off some of her locks. In total, they discovered 1.5 kilograms of cocaine. The officer even showed how the drugs were concealed in her hair, and while the method was pretty clever, there were some clues that tipped off the authorities. They carefully untwisted her dreadlocks to uncover more of the drugs, which they then displayed in front of reporters. It was a shocking and revealing moment that no one expected. However, if you think seafood was the strangest thing to be concealed, wait until you hear about the next attempt, one that involved an unconventional hiding spot. Hidden cuscus. When airport customs opened a bag on October 23rd, they never imagined they would find 5 furry creatures hidden inside. The customs officers were inspecting a passenger's bag when they made a shocking discovery: 5 strange furry creatures hidden inside. But these weren't just any animals. To their surprise, they were rare dwarf and common spotted cuscus, creatures that most people wouldn't expect to find in someone's luggage. The passenger had arrived from Bangkok, and the discovery left everyone at the airport stunned. As the authorities began their investigation, the animals were sent back to Thailand, but the mystery was far from over. What was this passenger planning to do with these rare and protected animals? The airport officials were buzzing with curiosity, each person speculating about the passenger's intentions. The big question remained, why would anyone need these unusual creatures? And just when it seemed the case was closed, a completely different form of smuggling emerged, this time involving a far more creative approach. The hidden money. When the officers asked the passenger to unpack his bag, they had no idea they were about to uncover a hidden fortune. After stopping at the security checkpoint, the customs officer asked the passenger to reveal what he was hiding. What they found during the search completely stunned them. The young man was asked to unpack his bag, and as he slowly took out each item, the officers watched closely, urging him to speed up. What could he possibly be hiding? One of the officers then unzipped the inner lining of the luggage for a more thorough search. At first, it seemed like there was nothing unusual in the bag, but the officers didn't stop there. As they continued searching, they peeled back the innermost layer and discovered bundles of carefully hidden 50-pound notes. Moving one, what seemed like a routine search quickly turned into something much more surprising, as the officers would soon uncover a different kind of hidden treasure. Gold in slippers. Imagine stepping off a flight from Colombo, thinking you're just another passenger blending in with the crowd. Suddenly, airport officers begin to focus on one woman. What did they know that we didn't? With sharp attention to detail, the officers begin to search her belongings, and the tension builds. They start by inspecting her slippers, but it's what's hidden beneath them that grabs their focus. As they peel back the soles, they uncover 14 gold-cut bits, carefully concealed. Each piece gleams as it's revealed, making it clear that this stash weighs a staggering 393 grams. Now, this isn't just ordinary gold. It's valued at an eye-popping 18,84,000 rupees, which is roughly $2,683. The officers seized it, making yet another successful bust under the Customs Act of 1962. Now that's a sneaky smuggling attempt. However, this was just the beginning of a series of crafty smuggling attempts, with each one becoming more inventive than the last. Diamond smuggler busted. A routine scan turned into a serious investigation when officers noticed something odd under a passenger's clothing. The passengers had just gone through the scanner when the officers noticed something very unusual. One of the passengers, who's from Africa, seems to have something unusual hidden inside her. The shadows showing up on the X-ray screen give the officers a hint, and one of them quickly suspects she might be smuggling diamonds. They've seen cases like this before, so the suspicion is real. As she walks through the X-ray scanner, the officer notices something odd showing up on the screen. They call her over for questioning, and when they start talking, the officer says it looks like lovely stones, but he knows it's something much more serious: diamonds. Turns out he was right. The woman cooperates and agrees to go to the women's bathroom to remove whatever she's hiding.
The passenger decides to cooperate and goes to the toilet to retrieve the packages hidden inside her.
What she hands over are 5 mysterious packs. The officer opens them up, and inside he finds rough, unrefined diamonds. She was trying to smuggle them into the country without any proper documents, which is a major crime. While the diamond smuggling came as a shock, it didn't take long for the officers to stumble upon a different, yet equally clever attempt by a couple hoping to slip past security. Suspicious couple caught. Love may be blind, but was it strong enough to fool the customs officers? When this couple passed through security, the officers started to get suspicious as their story didn't quite add up. The officers asked if they packed everything themselves and if they had anything new to declare, like purchases from their trip. The husband quickly confirmed they were only bringing back clothes, and everything seemed fine at first. But as the officers began checking the bags, something didn't sit right. When they opened the luggage, they found not just clothes, but brand new gold jewelry, tags still attached.
What's the approximate value for this gold jewelry that you're bringing back?
Around $2,000 per piece.
The wife claimed the jewelry was hers, but it was clear that they hadn't declared it properly. They tried to slip it past the officers without paying the proper taxes. Each piece of jewelry was worth around $2,000, and in the end, the couple's little fib cost them. The jewelry was seized, and now they'll be hit with some hefty penalty fees. Guess love wasn't enough to cover up those expensive mistakes. Gold paste inside underwear. When a traveler's belongings get flagged, nobody could have predicted what was hidden inside. On August 5th, 2023, Hyderabad Customs received an anonymous tip, and it turned out to be a big lead. They had their sights set on an Indian traveler returning from Dubai, and suspicion was growing as officers got closer. What happened next left everyone stunned. The traveler was found with nearly 1,924 grams of gold paste hidden inside his underwear, worth a jaw-dropping 1 crore 18 lakh rupees. It was a desperate attempt to hide the gold, and it added an extra layer of intrigue to the bust. Hyderabad Customs had successfully cracked another smuggling attempt, but now even more questions were left unanswered. Who else was involved in this? How did they manage to get the gold paste past security without detection? But just when the gold paste bust seemed to wrap up, a completely different and even more risky smuggling attempt unfolded, this time involving a hidden firearm. A gun hidden in DVD player. Some people will do anything to sneak a weapon onto a plane, But one traveler at JFK Airport went all out, hiding a 9mm handgun inside a DVD player wrapped in foil. Now, it's hard not to question what this guy was thinking. Anyone who's been through security knows that scanners are built to detect the shape of a gun. So it's really baffling why he thought he could slip one through unnoticed. Security at JFK found a 9mm handgun inside a DVD player in the man's checked luggage. It was wrapped in aluminum foil, probably thinking that would somehow fool the scanners. But of course it didn't. The security scanner easily picked it up as the man was about to fly out to Mexico. When airport security finds a firearm, you can expect to be arrested, slapped with a huge fine, and face weapons violations charges. But as one traveler's attempt to hide a firearm failed, officers would soon uncover an even more sophisticated smuggling operation, with gold stashed inside electronic devices. Gold hidden in laptops. It was a typical day at the airport until sharp-eyed customs officers made a startling discovery: gold hidden inside laptops. This happened in 2022 when officers at an airport in India noticed something unusual about 3 passengers arriving from Dubai and Sharjah. As they went through their luggage, the officers couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. Something didn't seem right. Sure enough, their suspicion grew when they discovered something unusual inside the laptops of the passengers, hidden thin sheets of gold foil cleverly concealed. The officers, with bated breath, kept digging, and to their surprise, they uncovered even more gold. In total, nearly 2 kilograms of gold were found. But that wasn't all. Alongside the gold were a bunch of electronic goods, which together were valued at a jaw-dropping $114,526. The whole scene played out in real time as the officers made the dramatic arrest of all 3 suspects. You could feel the tension in the air as the capture unfolded. What a wild turn of events. The smuggler's secret. The atmosphere was charged with tension as the officers made their dramatic arrest of all 3 suspects. With each passing second, they dug deeper into the luggage, wondering what could they find next. The passenger tried to stay calm and told immigration that he had no money. He said he would be staying in Britain for 2 months and that a friend had promised to cover all his expenses. It was a story that the officers had heard many times before, especially from smugglers trying to pull a fast one. As the customs officer examined the luggage, his instincts kicked in. Something didn't look right under the X-ray, and he had a strong hunch that there was a smuggling operation at play. The suspect insisted he had no cash and that his friend was covering everything, but the officer wasn't buying it. Unbothered, he began to strip back the inner lining of the suitcase. The officer said that he had conducted a test on the bottom of the suitcase, which had revealed a white paste. The passenger froze, and the officer repeated, without backing down, that it was indeed a white paste. He wasn't finished yet. With a focused look, the officer continued, digging deeper into the luggage. Hidden and sealed tightly into the casing, there was a suspicious white substance that immediately raised alarm bells. After running a test, the officer confirmed his suspicion. It was cocaine.
Yep, I've conducted a test on it which says it's cocaine. Therefore the time is 10:55.
The man was arrested on the spot for smuggling. In another instance, a passenger was acting oddly and giving off a terrible smell, clearly showing signs of nervousness. The stinky luggage. The officer was hit with a horrible smell before even seeing what was inside the terrifying package. What he discovered might just have been enough to stop everything in its tracks. Inside the man's suitcase was a small cooler, which immediately caught the officer's attention. The passenger had a lot of luggage, and many of the bags hadn't been inspected yet, so the officer decided to take a closer look. He opened one of the bags and pulled out the mini cooler. When asked, the passenger casually explained that he kept frozen food inside. But when the cooler was opened, the contents made the officer recoil. Inside were sealed plastic bags filled with meat and vegetables, but it was the smell of rotting meat that nearly choked the officer. Thinking he had already discovered the worst, the officer continued inspecting the rest of the luggage and found bags of frozen fish. While dried fish is allowed, Barcelona does not permit frozen fish due to the risk of contamination. As the officer examined the sealed bags, he discovered something even more alarming: maggots crawling inside the fish. Some of the maggots had even managed to escape from the bags. 22 snakes and a chameleon. What began as a routine inspection soon escalated into a baffling mystery as customs officers uncovered hidden snakes and a chameleon. The surprise unfolded in Chennai, India, when a woman's luggage arrived from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and the officers made a shocking discovery inside. At first glance, the bags seemed ordinary, but as the officers began inspecting them, they found something unbelievable. Hidden inside were not just 1 or 10, but 22 live snakes. Each snake seemed to have its own tail, leaving the officers curious about what kind they were and where they were going. As if that wasn't strange enough, a chameleon was also discovered among the wriggling snakes, adding even more confusion to the situation. What on earth was the woman planning with all these creatures? However, at a different airport, officers were going through their usual checks when a particularly nervous traveler caught their attention. A box full of spiders and tarantulas. What began as a routine inspection quickly turned into a strange mystery when customs officers discovered a box filled with rare tarantulas from Poland. At Chennai Airport, something incredibly unusual was discovered. Customs officers received a parcel from Poland at the Foreign Post Office, and when they opened it, they could hardly believe their eyes. Inside the box were 107 live tarantulas carefully packed. But these weren't just any spiders. These were rare tarantulas listed under CITES. An international agreement designed to protect endangered plants and animals from illegal trade. Because of their endangered status, the officers immediately seized the tarantulas under the Customs Act. Picture the scene: officers staring into a box full of wriggling tarantulas, each one with its legs moving, and realizing they were rare specimens. The big question was, what were these exotic creatures doing here, and who was behind this bold attempt to smuggle them into the country? While you hold on to your thoughts, let's take a trip to Chennai Airport, where officers caught the next traveler with some creepy surprises. Wild smuggling attempt foiled at Chennai Airport. Chennai Airport's customs officers were in for a wild surprise when they began inspecting a passenger's luggage, only to find it was hiding far more than just clothes and personal items. Inside the bags, they discovered an astonishing collection of animals: 20 non-venomous snakes, 2 tortoises, and even a monkey, all carefully concealed. The passenger, who had just flown in from Thailand, clearly thought they could outsmart security by hiding these creatures in their luggage. But their plan didn't go as expected. The sharp-eyed customs officers quickly noticed the unusual packing and conducted a thorough inspection, uncovering the animals that were concealed with great care. The smugglers' attempt to slip the creatures past security was thwarted, and the animals were immediately seized. You have heard of unusual luggage contents, but have seen a drugged baby tiger stuffed in a suitcase. Tiger cub in woman's suitcase. You have heard of unusual luggage contents, but have seen a drugged baby tiger stuffed in a suitcase. That's exactly what happened when security at Bangkok's International Airport uncovered this jaw-dropping discovery. What did they find? A baby tiger cub hidden inside a woman's suitcase. And to make matters even crazier, this wasn't just any suitcase. It was a bag that was flagged as overweight and had to go through an X-ray before being loaded onto the plane. The tiger, only 3 months old, had been drugged and stuffed into the suitcase along with a stuffed toy tiger for some weird reason. But thankfully, the X-ray revealed the live animal inside before anything could go wrong.
And her overweight bag was sent for an X-ray, which showed what appeared to be a live animal inside.
Animal protection officers were immediately called to the scene, and the woman was caught off guard. She maintained that she was unaware of the suitcase's contents and said another person had asked her to transport it. However, this did not prevent her arrest, and she was charged with wildlife smuggling, a crime punishable by significant fines and up to 4 years in prison in Thailand. It turns out that the illegal exotic pet trade is a big business in Iran, the tiger's intended destination, but this little guy was in no condition to survive such a journey. Subscriber's pick. One of the most disturbing things ever caught at an airport is the heartbreaking reality of women attempting to smuggle their babies in bags. Just like in this image, where officers at a customs checkpoint stopped a nervous young woman. When her luggage was scanned, something odd appeared, what seemed like a person hidden inside. Upon opening the suitcase, they discovered a 5-month-old baby. Do you think poverty and lack of resources drive people to make desperate choices? Let us know in the comments. unidentified animal part. When an Australian couple returned from China, they never expected their luggage would contain a surprise that would lead to a fine and questions about public health. Customs officers found an unidentified animal part hidden in their suitcase.
What is it? Looks like part of an animal, is it?
Yeah.
What sort of an animal?
And when asked what it was, the couple was just as confused. One officer asked what the item was. The couple responded that they didn't know, sounding clearly uncertain. The officer then speculated if it might be from a deer. Upon closer inspection, it was revealed that the item was a common ingredient used in traditional Chinese medicine, believed to enhance male potency. This discovery resulted in an immediate penalty. The officer informed the couple that they would be fined $340 for failing to declare the items. The couple reluctantly agreed, realizing there was no way to avoid the fine. On top of the fine, all the seized items were confiscated and would be destroyed. The real issue, though, was the fact that they hadn't declared the item in the first place, which raised serious health concerns. Items like these could potentially spread dangerous animal diseases, including anthrax or foot and mouth disease, and that's why declarations are so important. In another alarming incident, customs officers intercepted a passenger attempting to smuggle a mysterious liquid. Psychedelic liquid in cola bottles. Customs officers got a little more than they bargained for when they uncovered some suspicious bottles in a passenger's possession. At first glance, it looked like the man just had a few regular bottles of cola, but upon closer inspection, something didn't seem right. 3 bottles were found, all filled with the same dark, mysterious liquid. As the officers dug deeper, their concerns grew. It turned out that the liquid inside wasn't just soda. It was a plant-based psychedelic, known for containing DMT, a powerful hallucinogen. To make things even worse, it had been mixed with MDMA, a dangerous drug commonly known as ecstasy. After running tests, authorities confirmed the liquid was indeed illegal, confirming their worst fears. But the fight against drugs is far from over, and another surprising bust would soon expose the massive scale of drug trafficking in the area. Drugs and big millions in fake cash. It started with a bus search, but what they found was a staggering discovery of heroin and millions in cash. It all went down on the Abuja Expressway when drug law enforcement agents stumbled upon an unbelievable stash: nearly $4.8 million in cash, 175 wraps of heroin, and 57 million CFA in suspected counterfeit bills. And that was only the beginning. A few days later, things took another turn at the Abuja airport when 2 traffickers were caught trying to smuggle heroin inside their bodies. The busts led to some pretty major arrests, including a notorious drug lord, Hakeem Babatunde Salami, who was eventually tracked down hiding out in South Africa. They even seized his luxury car and sealed his home. The crazy part is that both of these busts, one on the expressway and the other at the airport, were linked to the same drug cartel. In the end, the drug lord was convicted, getting 2 years in prison with the option of a fine on some charges, but 8 months with no chance of a fine for others. But the creativity of smugglers knows no bounds, as evident in the astonishing case of a Miami man who attempted to sneak snakes past airport security in his pants. Miami man busted for sneaking snakes through checkpoint. You won't believe what just happened. If you remember the movie Snakes on a Plane, someone just tried to make it real. A guy was caught attempting to sneak snakes past airport security in his pants. TSA agents in Miami noticed something under his clothes at a checkpoint, and sure enough, they discovered a small bag full of snakes. While we are not shocked this happened in Miami, what's even crazier is that we don't know whether these snakes were his pets or if he was trying to smuggle them. Was he trying to pull off a stunt? Or was there another reason behind it? From smuggling reptiles to drug trafficking, illegal activities are complicated, as shown by the heroin bust that took down a powerful cartel. The heroin seizure. For 12 intense days, the NDLEA officials were on a mission, working quietly and carefully to piece together clues at the busy Murtala Muhammad International Airport in Nigeria. With each step, they moved cautiously, and their patience eventually paid off. They intercepted a massive heroin shipment, the largest ever seized in the country. But that was just the beginning. As the operation continued, the team uncovered a network of 107 bank accounts and millions of dollars in frozen assets, hitting the syndicate hard where it hurt the most: its finances. The investigation also led them to luxurious mansions, one in Nigeria and another in Mozambique, both connected to powerful cartel leaders. These once glamorous symbols of untouchable wealth were now set to be seized by the government. The syndicate's downfall had officially begun, but the NDLEA was far from finished. They were just getting started. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.